As soon as our cooking skills are bought, we have to practice making clear fingers, and after practicing within 20 strokes, we must make bright fingers into a fan, and the eggs below must be intact, in order to hold the emperor's heart. Yulan, who has just entered the palace, specially asked Ming Qi for magic. Unexpectedly, she is quite talented in this aspect. In just 7 days, she has mastered the art of seducing men to the extreme. In fact, not long ago, Yulan was still an innocent and lively girl. But one night, she dreamt of a real dragon. The other party told Yulan that she was destined to become the emperor's woman. So from that day on, Yulan made up her mind to enter the palace and serve the emperor. The relationships and incidents in the palace are complicated, and her mother worries that Yulan is too naive. When you enter the palace, you will be bullied, so I entrusted a master and made up for Yulan, Kezikyo, Kajakagwa Kiman. If this daughter is mine, she will come out in her life. I strangled her. Yulan was so frightened that her face was discolored, and the cat in her hand was accidentally taken off. She chased the kitten and ran out of the house, but she happened to meet the 6 princes who practiced words here, although the words of the 6 kings were written like words, but the abbot on the side could see it. It turns out that although he is the brother of the current saint, he is not used to the royal brother bowing to foreigners again and again. If the national society can be handed over to my hands, I will definitely not be at the mercy of others. At this time, Yulan's cat barked. Yulan can only show up. You were just here. Yes, the words you wrote are really beautiful. Because Yulan hasn't read many books, she doesn't understand the meaning of the painting that the 6th prince just drew. The 6th prince did not pursue it, let him leave with his mother. Before leaving, Yulan smiled back at the 6th prince, and it was this smile that made the 6th prince feel a sense of excitement. On the way home, Yulan and her mother unfortunately encountered bandits. All the servants scattered and fled. Her mother could only pull Yulan to escape. However, fragile Yulan couldn't escape from the bandits at all and was quickly pinned down on the ground. At this critical moment, someone threw a flying knife. The head of the bandit was cut off, and it turned out to be the 6th prince who was seen just now. He held the jade orchid and dealt with all the bandits. This heroic act of saving the beauty made Jade Orchid feel relieved and secretly agreed. The two of them couldn't help but stabilize together. When the affection was strong, Yulan pushed away the 6th prince and admitted that she had been chosen as a palace maid. The 6th prince understood that he and Yulan were destined to be separated and could only remind her before leaving that they should treat each other as strangers once they entered the palace. Otherwise, it would be difficult for Yulan to survive in the palace in the future. The day of Yulan entering the palace quickly arrived. She was bestowed the title of Noble Lady Lan and moved into the Huixiulan Palace. The senior maid explained the rules to the newly arrived maidservants, saying that they were the masters and could give orders for anything they needed. The maidservants would definitely comply. As soon as she finished speaking, a woman came forward and stuffed a large silver ticket for the elder master, and in the palace, the more sensible people can be taken care of, and she was therefore assigned the best residence, and the best palace maid, and Yulan, who came from a poor family. He got the worst one, and even the palace maids who served were all beaters who specialized in the thatched room, but when Yulan entered the palace, she smuggled her cat in, and with her, Yulan also had some comfort in her heart. After living like this for several months, one day, Yulan finally received a summons from the emperor. She was wrapped in a quilt and sent into the emperor's bedroom. The other embroiderers who saw this scene were very jealous. In order to retaliate against her, they broke into Yulan's room and took away her cat. At the same time, Yulan was sent to the emperor's bedroom. Remember, you have to crawl in from under the covers. After speaking, the public led people out of the palace, and Yulan quietly poked her head out from under the bed according to the public words, but because she had never given public benefits and never learned the rules of serving the emperor, she provoked the emperor very reluctantly. Take her away, leave nothing behind, not even a trace. The emperor's decree does not spare the dragon's seed. Yulan was greatly shocked, never expecting that her first time serving the emperor would fail to please him. Why didn't the emperor let me keep the dragon's seed? Princess Qing, the emperor you served was not happy, and when all the procedures were completed, the eunuch sent her back to the room and threw her on the bed like garbage, and Yulan was grief-stricken. Wanting to talk to her pet cat about her thoughts, Yulan unexpectedly discovered that the cat was nowhere to be found. She quickly ran out of the room and searched around, but couldn't find any trace of the cat. However, she found it in the yard. Seeing a burning stove, Yulan had a premonition. She opened the stove and saw that her beloved cat was being stewed inside. Yulan completely broke down at this moment. She made up her mind to seek revenge for her cat. In the following months, Yulan never received any summons again, and the others in the Huixiulan Palace treated her like a servant. Oh, my hair is a mess. Can you come and help me comb it? I daydream all day long. Yulan knew that the death of the cat must be related to this woman. Her gaze deepened as she walked step by step into the woman's room. Did you kill my cat? Even if I killed you, what would be the consequences? Do you dare to kill me? The next second, Yulan picked up the hairpin at hand and stabbed the woman fiercely, and didn't let me out. That sister is finally letting me go after you. At this moment, all the concubines were summoned by the emperor to the imperial garden to appreciate the flowers. There was no one who could come to save her. Yulan resolved the lives of the women in this way. Suddenly, someone followed the sound and walked in. It turned out to be the 6th prince who had been seen before. Yulan knew that killing someone would cost her life. She begged the 6th prince to save herself. So, the 6th prince came up with an idea for her. As long as she disappeared, no one would suspect anything. As soon as he finished speaking, the girl who takes care of Yulan accidentally broke in and saw bloodstains all over the floor. She was speechless for a moment. Yulan asked her to help keep the secret. When the girl agreed, she took the bloodstained clothes and prepared to destroy the evidence. As soon as I turned my head, I saw the sixth prince strangling the big Nyo. Both you and I need to survive, and in order to achieve this goal, we must step on the bodies of others. Before leaving, the sixth prince threw both bodies into the well. Yulan was also given a jade pendant. As long as she holds it, Yulan can ask her for help at any time. Since she has become a noble in the palace, she must win the emperor's favor. Otherwise, it would be equivalent to death. Also because of this sentence, Yulan's state of mind completely changed. Since she wanted to become a concubine, she had to climb to the highest position. In order to obtain favor, Yulan decided to start with the most basic skills in bed. She had to leave the palace when her mother fell ill. Later, she came to the brothel and sought advice from Mingji. It usually takes 3 years for a typical courtesan to learn, but Yulan didn't have that much time. So Mingji advised her to conquer men's psychology. Men can be very cheap sometimes, the harder they are to get, the more they desire. The more he wants to get, if you are bitten by him, he will not cherish you, and for the next 7 days, Yulan did not go out of the door for half a step, and practiced her charm to the extreme, when she returned to the palace after cultivating the divine palace. Just in time for the emperor to pray for the country, for 5 consecutive days, the emperor did not see any women. Now is the most thirsty time. Yulan seized the opportunity, disguised as a eunuch and sneaked into the palace to help the emperor wipe his sweat. But because of the unprofessional technique, the emperor was furious on the spot and knocked Yulan to the ground, and the concubines only wanted to look at the emperor and had nothing else to think. If the concubines deceived the emperor in half a sentence, let the concubines be dogs and small wooden dogs in the next life. Get up, in the next time, Yulan did everything in his power to count the emperor of Liaohua, and the 2 dried firewood and fire, and they were happy behind the Buddha statue, and since then, Yulan has been favored by the emperor. And successfully gave birth to a dragon son. For the sake of a noble concubine, the status was almost equal to the empress, but now the former dynasty is already struggling. The British and French army asked the emperor to cede the land and pay compensation, otherwise he would lead troops to Beijing. The emperor was very hesitant about this. At this time, the treacherous minister Su Shun advised the emperor to pretend to surrender first, and then capture the foreign envoy as a hostage, so that negotiations could be held with the foreigners. However, this idea, but directly to the foreigners to find an excuse, caused a war. In order to avoid the war, the emperor took his wife and children to hide in Rihe. Every night, he would summon the concubine Cini. One day, concubine Yi couldn't help but steal the emperor's dragon robe, just happened to be seen by the emperor, who woke up. You really think of on the head of Xian. Since this day, the emperor began to be wary of concubine Yi. He clearly understood that the current concubine Yi, it's no longer the same Magnolia as before. The emperor is getting older and his health is not as good as before. It seems like he won't last much longer. He called everyone to his bedside to discuss matters after his death. The empress has a kind nature, and he is worried about her well-being after he passes away. The queen will be bullied, so a secret decree was issued to the queen. Whoever dares to disobey the queen can be put to death with this decree. Afterwards, he appointed the son of the noble concubine as the crown prince and dismissed the others. Leaving only noble consort E behind, I handed over the symbol of power, the seal of the Hall of Supreme Harmony, to her. I hope you will work together with the empress, fulfill your duties, and handle the aftermath. On that same night, the emperor feigned death, and noble consort E became Empress Dowager Cixi. But Susan was worried about what Cixi would do, so the people surrounded the entire summer villa and did not allow anyone to enter or leave, and Cixi understood that the only hope now was to find the sixth prince in Beijing for help, so she called her henchman eunuch. Breaking her arm abruptly with a vase, you will agree, understand, Cixi gave the secret letter and the token to the little eunuch, and she asked the sixth prince to come and save herself. Sure enough, after getting the token, the sixth prince immediately brought people to the hot queen. Su Shun and others only thought that she was coming to mourn, and did not take this matter to heart, but not long after she entered the door, she was summoned by Cixi in front of so many people. Su Shun was not easy to block, so she let the sixth prince leave, and finally saw the sixth prince. Cixi was difficult to be happy on her face. In fact, she called the sixth prince to come, in addition to saving her out. On the other hand, she wanted to meet her sweetheart. Before the emperor's death, she had already started fantasizing about getting along with the sixth prince. However, the sixth prince couldn't summon the courage to face it all. Now that it has come to this point, what else do you have to fear? As soon as these words were spoken, the sixth prince no longer cared about any formalities. Finally got what he wanted, and after the matter was over, the two planned together, and soon killed Susan and others, while Cixi and the former empress obeyed the government together, and the sixth prince was named the righteous king, guarding all the power of the imperial court. After gaining power, the first thing Cixi did was to seek revenge for her beloved cat. She ordered her men to bring the former beauty, Li, in front of her. I will treat you the same way you treated Dong Dong, she said, hinting at her revenge. Li Guiren was thrown into a boiling iron pot and scalded to death. She thought her revenge was complete and should have been satisfied. But now her desires have expanded to the maximum, naturally unwilling to accept the former empress's evaluation of her power, but there is the decree of the former emperor. She also didn't dare to act rashly, so she resorted to a trick of sacrificing herself. She cut off her own thigh meat and made medicine for the former empress to win her trust. The naive former empress really believed that Empress Cixi was wholeheartedly treating her well. She also did not want to threaten her with a secret edict. She handed the emperor's secret edict to Cixi. If Yiguifei had any disrespect for the empress, please resign and be executed in time. Only then did Cixi know that the emperor had laid down this secret edict. Just to prevent herself, but at this time, the former empress already trusted Cixi 100%. She burned the secret edict in front of Cixi, and then drank the medicine mixed with flesh and blood, but she did not expect that Cixi had already put poison in it, and it didn't take long. She died from poisoning. The queen is dead. Empress Dowager Cixi then shifted her focus onto the sixth prince. She issued an imperial edict on behalf of the emperor, dismissing the sixth prince from his position as the prince regent. At this moment, the sixth prince finally saw the true face of Empress Dowager Cixi. And after that, Empress Dowager Cixi truly achieved absolute power. In order to obtain power, she completely disregarded her family ties. It is more accurate to say that she was the last empress of China rather than Pu Yi being the last emperor. As for whether she was happy or not, only she herself knows. Okay, this is the video for this issue. Thank you for your attention. See you next time.